Hello there. I'm Scotty, and you're not. And we have reached Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. Or Star Trek 4, let's time travel to get some whales. Let me know that the survival of the planet Earth in the 23rd century is dependent upon whales from the 20th century. So Leonard Nimoy comes back to direct this. And I think he did a good job. So the plot is there's this alien cylinder in space that is above Earth, and it's trying to communicate, but it's not getting an answer, so it's starting to mess with the Earth atmosphere, causing problems. Our heroes, the former crew of the Enterprise, the crew of the former Enterprise, are still on planet Vulcan with the stolen, commandeered Klingon ship from the last film. And they decide they're going to go home, face the consequences of their actions. But as they get closer, they get a message from the commander of Starfleet saying not to come back because of the atmosphere is messed up, and so they figure out they need to find a way to communicate with this ship. And Spock deduces that the sound that they're making is similar to that of humpback whales, which went extinct in the 21st century. So it's a matter of time, right? So they decide they're going to time travel and to go get a couple of whales to not only communicate with the ship, but possibly repopulate the race of whales. So there it is. In the original idea, they were going to have Eddie Murphy come in to play the person that they come in contact with in 1986 Earth, but he declined and did the Golden Child instead, so we have Catherine Hicks. So there's another seventh heaven connection. Stephen Collins in the first one, Catherine Hicks in this one is also a Child's Play connection. But this is other film. That's Chris Sarandon in some of the later films. But yeah, and this is it's a fish out of water story basically. They get to Earth and they're so like upfront, like Chekhov and Uhura are trying to get to the nuclear vessels, and he's upfront. It's like, we need to get to here so we can find a nuclear vessel. And he's like, he says it to a cop. The cop just looks at him like, why isn't he getting arrested? And well, Kirk and Spock, who has put a headband around to cover his ears. There's a funny scene with them where they're on the bus and there's this guy that won't stop playing music. So he gives him a Vulcan nerve pinch. And he just him doing that and hitting the boombox turns off. Everybody cheers. Because what the hell didn't like it? Why didn't someone else say something? What was saying? You know, I don't yawn. Not really. And then as soon as I sit down to record, before I even push record, I yawn. As soon as I sit down and get ready to record, there's a yawn. And then I'm yawning in the videos. I don't understand it. There it is. The musical score in this is all over the place. Like, the beginning of this, it sounds very whimsical. And then you get hints of it. In the original Star Trek. The scores of these first four movies are all over the place. The first one has the theme to The Next Generation. And then the next one, we have a more simpler theme, calling back sort of to the original. And the third one, we have some of the original stuff. And here, I don't know. James Horner was supposed to come back. He couldn't do it. I think he was doing Aliens at the time. So, we got Saavik, not Vesic, as I said in the last one. Saavik, Kirstie Alley's character from the second one. She's back for a small cameo. Apparently, they were going to do a subplot where she was pregnant with Spock's child, but that was taken out. I want to note that most of the shots, she's not in it very long, but most of the shots are above the waist area, like above the stomach. So maybe they shot that stuff and then in post they no. And they decided in post no. And so they just shot her a couple times. You don't really see it. There is like a shot where she looks at Spock at one point. I don't know. She's not in it that long. John Shuck plays one of the Klingons accusing Kirk of this. We see him at the beginning. Apparently he comes back in part 6. I like John Shuck. Pippi Longstocking. We got this new guy as the commander. Kind of remind me of Braytak from Tony Amendola. Braytak from Stargate SG-1, but it's not him. It's a different actor, but yeah. Leonard Nimoy wanted to distance this from the other ones. We're having like no big fight scenes, no phasers, no proton torpedoes, or photon torpedoes, excuse me. And no major villain. Even though there is the aliens, they're not like a major villain thing. I thought the Klingon was going to be the villain. I'm like, where are the Klingons again? And then, no. Why is this movie called The Voyage Home? Like, yeah, they go home, but then they go to 1986. Wouldn't it make more sense if this is Voyage Home, we're going to go home and do this? Something happens where they end up in 1986 and have to find their way back. And that's their voyage home. This one is the voyage to get whales. It's basically what it is. And this movie is 118 minutes, so a little bit less than 2 hours, but I still feel that there was some filler in this. Like, there's a lot of them walking around and talking to people. There's a scene where Chekhov and Uhura are on this vessel called the USS Enterprise back then, and then when they're ready to get beamed back up, but Scotty says he's going to do it one at a time, so he beams up Uhura, and then he's not able to get it to work for Chekhov at first, so Chekhov gets captured. And so we have this whole interrogation thing, and eventually he escapes, but then gets sent to a mental hospital, and then they have to rescue him from the mental hospital. Oh, it's really weird. It's really weird. I don't know. And then Spock, the doctor lady, and Kirk had to dress up like doctors. Or maybe it's McCoy. McCoy had to do it. Here's the thing, though. They land on Earth and used the thing to cloak them, right? But there's a scene where the doctor lady, I forget her name, she shows up and she's trying to get their attention. And she's walking around the field. It's clearly an empty field. But then when she has to interact with something, you could tell there's like a little indenture on the ground indicating where the ship is going to be. Like, did they not think that would be obvious or what? Because that's another subplot. The whales get taken. So they have to try to get their whales back so they can take them to the future. Yeah, you gotta extend the runtime a little bit. But I found this to be enjoyable for the most part. I'm not sure if it's better than 3 for me. A lot of people say it is. I enjoyed it. I like the fish out of water aspect. The lack of action, like, you think sci-fi movies, you think there's not a lot of that. The whole thing is resolved when they take the whales back to the future, the 23rd century. And did I miss something? They couldn't go into the Earth, or was it they just because time travel there, they had to slingshot themselves around the sun, so they didn't have to do it again, right? So how, if the Earth's atmosphere was so bad they couldn't cross it, how did they get in? Did I miss it? What did you? Did I miss something? I don't know. And why did they have to land on Earth? Because we've seen before in the Star Trek stuff, they could be still in space and beam down to Earth and back up to space. It's been done in countless Star Trek episodes. So why did they have to land on Earth? Is the Klingon ship not that powerful enough? Who knows? But they get back. Right, they save the Earth in the 23rd century, and the whales will stay there to repopulate. The doctor lady is assigned to a science vessel, and then all the charges they had are dismissed, except for Kirk for disobeying orders, of course. And then they get their new ship, which is the new vessel. Excuse me, a new vessel, which is Enterprise 2, Enterprise A, whatever, the new Enterprise, with a set that looks sort. It kind of reminds me of Next Generation set inside, to be honest. But I don't know. They have all the red uniforms on and stuff. It's pretty cool. I thought the actiness was pretty good. Spock is sort of on a journey. You know, he's back, but he doesn't fully remember stuff. He keeps calling Kirk Admiral instead of Jim, and even at one point he's like, "Jim, you call me Jim," even though they established it at the end. Jim, I called you Jim, but yeah, he keeps calling him Admiral, even in front of people. Why do they keep calling you Admiral? She says. And he gets demoted to captain at the end, so everything is back full circle now. He's captain, and he's leading the new Enterprise. Did they have that ready already? I don't know. But a lot of people call out Shatner for being goofy in this. Goofier than he has been before. It's William Shatner. He's gonna be goofy. There's a scene at the end where they're all jumping in the ocean, and Spock doesn't want to go in, and he pulls Spock in, and I'm like, makeup doesn't fall off. Shatner jumps in, and I'm like, his toupee is gonna fall off, but no. And if you're questioning, just look at his hair. That's not real hair. I mean, come on. You see that? You see how that's a toupee. That's a hairpiece. That is a hairpiece on William Shatner's head. No doubt. It is a hairpiece. That thing is not natural. It makes Donald Trump's hair look real. And that thing is a squirrel. So you know that this thing ain't real. I'm just saying. Okay? I'm just saying. But stress that from the record. But anyway, yeah. So jumping in the water and stuff. This was good. Actually, I'll say it's pretty good. I did think I'm thinking about it, I did kind of like it better than the last one, even though the Klingon stuff. There was a lot of lulls in that one. This one has more interaction stuff. The cast gets to do more, like other cast besides just Kirk, Spock, and Bones. You got Uhura doing stuff. Scotty does stuff. Chekhov, who is slowly becoming my favorite character, just the way he, he's sitting there and he's like, he gets up and he runs away, and the back there, we need a nuclear vessel. It's just, in full disclosure, like, Chekhov is probably my favorite character in the Abrams movies because he's played by Anton Yelchin, and I like the way that character goes. Bones has always been my favorite Star Trek character, alongside Scotty, for obvious reasons. But I've always liked Bones. Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not an electrician. That's that sort of, damn it, man. Damn it, Jim. Just this sort of give no shits attitude he's got about him. There are parts in this, too, where he's trying to talk to Spock. There's like a sort of thing between him and Bones and Spock where he's trying to get him to remember and trying to get him to talk about it. And, Spock's not acting like Spock. And he's like, because they talk about, the needs of the one, Spock, outweighed the needs of the many in the last one. So he's trying to understand, He got Spock's father comes back. His mother is there. Fun movie. Pretty good. So, what are your thoughts on it? Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home? Anyone comments below, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I can't believe I haven't done this before, but live long and prosper.